And then I just said, do your own thing. Like, start your own club, Nick. And I did.
Hey everyone, welcome to Tracer Burnout. I'm Roger.
And I'm Dan.
And here in our virtual studio, we have Mr. Nicholas Allen, fellow Army veteran, fellow Special Operations veteran, and fellow podcaster. How you doing this evening, sir?
I am doing well. How about you, gentlemen?
Very good, very good. So as far as I know, we've never actually met face to face, as far as I know, but we've run in some similar circles anyway. So kind of met you and reached out to you on social media, as so many of our recent guests have been. So again, the ups and downs of social media, there are some upsides. So it brings great people like you into our circle. So welcome.
Thank you. I just had that conversation today. I do serious business and collaboration with a lot of people on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I say serious business, like on Instagram specifically. I don't even know their first name. I know their tagline on Instagram, and I go, man, I'll be messaging them, and then I'll sit up and realize I don't know who this person is. And I'll say, hey, just to break in the conversation, do I know you? Nope, not at all. Okay, we're just Instagram acquaintances that are sharing each other's stuff and collaborating and commenting and all these likes and reposts and all this other stuff. So
Dr. Green Thumb 420. We've never actually met face to face before, but I'm sure he's a great guy or gal, whomever it may be. Okay, Dan, you want to launch?
Yeah, we'll get into all that Instagram posting and all that stuff later. But for now, we'll start the way we always do. Does your family have a history of service?
I do not think so. So not at my parents' generation. I think kind of an in-between sort of thing. Too young for Vietnam and then too old for Desert Storm sort of thing. I mean, not too old for Desert Storm, but just didn't fall into that category. I know my grandfather stepped on a landmine in Korea, ended up losing his leg. And then my great grandfather was at the Remagen Bridge in World War II. Stories I wish that I had now, but unfortunately, what I just told you is all I know, unfortunately.
Well, that's part of the reason why we do this, so that those stories will get told and last forever. And Hollywood doesn't have to create a movie out of whole cloth like Roger's favorite movie of all time, Fury.
That's part of the origin story of the show, but maybe for another day. But yeah, that was common for that generation, though. They're very stoic about their trauma and their service, and a lot of those stories went to their graves with them, unfortunately.
Yeah. So, if your family doesn't really have a history of service, what led you to the military? And then why did you choose the Army?
So it was a consideration getting out of high school to join the Marines. And then I just didn't. My buddy did. I stayed, started working construction, and those were good times. That was pre-market crash and a lot of construction jobs, a lot of money to be made. You work 7 days a week. There was always some job you could jump on and go work and remodel a house or build a house or whatever. And then that all stopped one day in 2008, 2009. It all went away.
Yep.
And then I just went to work at the bowling alley in town and doing odd jobs, maintenance around the bowling alley, fixing things, little carpentry things there. I had all my own tools, and I was partnered up with another guy. And we weren't getting paid a lot, but we could bowl all we wanted, and the bartenders let us drink for free because we worked there. So, and started bowling like 5-6 nights a week, and I got really good. And then I started like, well, what else can I do here? St. Patrick's Day, I think I was 20 years old, so that would have been in 2000, whatever it was, 10, 9, and 8. And yeah, 2008. They got pulled downstairs to bartend at the Irish pub downstairs. And I was 20 years old. I was like, oh, okay, this is a lot of fun. This is a lot of fun. And it was fun for a few years until it wasn't. And we got to the point that the bar manager and the bar owner and the bartenders and me, we all lived together. So the party never stopped,
Yeah.
ever stopped. And you you'd run Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday till pretty much you'd work till you went to sleep and then you get up and start over. And then Tuesday was industry night. So you were guaranteed to be out all night Tuesday night going to see your friends that you never get to see. They'd all go out together. So
Yeah.
5 days a week you were, and I was at a bar where if somebody bought you a shot, you were taking that shot. And you would be, it was the time of very sugary shots like Dr.
I was
McGillicuddy's
gonna say
and
that's
Red
the
Bull,
Jaeger bomb era. So
Jaeger bombs era,
yeah,
cherry
from what I
bombs.
from what I heard.
Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah.
And when you're bartending and every night's the same, then you get bored. So you start creating shots and then you start pairing up other shots with other shots like in a row. So you're doing 6 shots in a row. It's called a food fight or something like that. And things are getting so out of control. So that stopped one day. I was like, I've had enough of this. I got to move out. I got to find something to do with my life. So I moved back home and I just I started a manufacturing job on a Monday, and on Friday I was like, I don't ever want to do this again. So I had went to the recruiter's office, went to the Marine recruiter. They said, nope, you got too many tattoos. I said, all right. And I walked 1 foot over to the Army recruiter and I said, what do you got? It's just nasty handlebar mustache, Carhartt jacket on. And I said, what do you got? And I'm sure they laughed at me, saying, oh, just this guy. Because I did not look like um, I was serious, but I was. They that was it. So the Marines wouldn't take me. Everybody in the comments, I'm being serious. I'm like, yeah, I did try to go to the Marines. They wouldn't take me for tattoos. And they said, that's not a thing. Yeah, it is. At the time, the tattoo policy, I couldn't get in. Um, so I walked next door. I said, what do you got? And kind of took things from there.
I mean, were you pretty fit at the time?
I'd been an athlete in high school, wrestler. I wrestled 3 of the years. I was okay. I could have been good. I could have been good. I had natural talent. I could have been good. I just didn't have the commitment that I had once I got the basic training. If I would have had that paired up with the ability I had in high school, I could have been good. I don't know if I could have been great, but you never know once you get into something. But I
No.
was a wrestler. From what I know now about how I'm able to build muscle and stay fit, I probably didn't do myself any favors by starving myself for 3 years in high school when I could have been building muscle and getting bigger and like building a foundation. Probably not the best,
Yeah.
healthiest way to go about it, but that's the route I
I
took.
mean, I
So,
assume that's making weight for wrestling and all that, right?
oh yeah, I mean, you're not
Okay.
eating, you're not drinking
Yeah.
water, you're killing yourself and then to go lose or win or buy, like, what am I doing here? So, no, I'd always been fit and active, but once I signed up, I started going to the gym back every day. And when I got to basic training, I was far and away the fittest person there.
Okay, I got a couple of questions before we move on. So you
Yeah,
were when you were working at the bowling alley, you said you were bowling 5, 6 nights a week.
6 or 7.
Okay, so did you belong to a bowling league?
Yeah, yeah.
What was the
But
name of the?
all different night, all different night. You know, don't think I could tell you one of the names of the teams. But it was Monday was men's league, Tuesday was a mixed league, Wednesday or Thursday was a men's league. I would fill in as well. Yeah, I was bowling, and then I would bowl during the day to practice as well. I was bowling what so 21 ish games a week in on league, and then I was bowling during the day as well. I got pretty good. It was I was so good when I came into the military that I considered trying to go to the bowling team.
The
Um,
All Army bowling team?
I didn't know it was a thing, and some NCO said, "Oh yeah, you just apply for it and go." Because I was on when I got to Fort Sill. Um, it was me, and it wasn't the commanding general, but it was like the DCO or the 1 and 2. Obviously, an officer had a high bowling average, but yeah, I maintained that, and then one day I just stopped, and selection came up, and that was it. So like never really went back. I can still do it today, but it would take me a little bit to practice.
Okay. So when you were a bartender, bartenders see and hear a lot of crazy nonsense. What is one incident that sticks out from your mind, or sticks out in your mind of your time
Uh,
as a bartender?
Where do I begin?
no, there's one that stands out. Yeah. Oof. So it was the era of, and from what I hear from kids and the numbers on alcohol today, is the current generation isn't going out like they did 20-ish years ago or so. Everybody was in this competition to get as messed up as they could
Oh yeah,
every night, uh, into oblivion. And now everybody seems to be, and I say everybody, a majority of people are sober. Like they don't drink at all now. And you see
yeah.
them on social media, like, oh, they overdid it so much. But so at that bar that we worked at, it was overindulgence center, the Irish bar in a basement of a bowling alley below a nightclub, which also was overdoing it all the time. It was
Well, this is
rough.
Wisconsin
Um,
too, right?
no, this is in Illinois, right over the border,
Okay,
right,
so I was gonna say,
not
I'm pretty
far
sure
from
in
here. But
Wisconsin is some of the most alcohol consumption in the country too. But
we are the only state with more grocery stores than more bars than grocery stores.
there you go.
The only state, and almost all of our counties are the drunkest counties in the country. But you got to be good at something. Somebody's got to be on top, and it's Wisconsin. It's a whole different thing here. Everybody on the roads has at least one brandy old fashioned in them at all times. I'm convinced of it. But yeah, so the one dude had overdone it, and my the owner looked at me and said, "Get him out of here." And there's a back staircase that led up. The entrance went this way, but there's a back staircase. And I picked this dude up and I threw him up on my shoulder. And as like, sack of potatoes over, he vomits all down the back of my head and all down my back, all the way down, and just kept throwing up on me all the way up the stairs. Um, I felt bad because I dropped him right on his head when I got to the top of the stairs, and I just went back down. I never heard what happened to him. It probably hurt. He didn't feel anything, but yeah, that one stands out. Of maybe I need to do something more with my life than than what we're doing here. Getting thrown up, getting breaking up fights, and getting hit. There's always a fight over nothing. People drinking. I mean, oh God, we had this thing called Ride the Rail. We had 15 beers on tap, and if you could drink all 15 pints in one night, you got a T-shirt. Uh, one person out of the hundreds that tried it walked out of there under their own power. Everybody else was just trashed,
Just half
throwing
dead.
up.
Yeah.
Oh, it was such a dirty place, and it had linoleum, and then like carpet, and then like linoleum, and
Oh,
then
carpet.
tile. And
Oh,
so yeah, because when we remodeled it later, it had, you're like, well, this is why this place stinks, because there was a
oh,
layer of carpet down there for some reason in the bathroom
the
too.
bacteria sponge. Ugh.
Oh, it was disgusting.
I
Yeah.
visualize this guy who's thrown up on your back, like that scene in Team America where he's like in the back alleyway, just the little marionette puppets. Just yeah, if you know, you know.
Oh God.
uh,
That one sticks out. I'm sure there's other stuff, but that was a destructive time. I mean, so many times, and I don't remember them now, but I remember that I know we had no idea how we got home. Many, many, many nights, many more than we did remember how we got home.
So from high school athlete to construction and remodeling jobs to bowling alleys and bartending, and a very short manufacturing job. What was your family's reaction to you enlisting?
Oh,
Because
very
that's
supportive.
totally different.
Yeah, very supportive. I've been very good at everything I've ever done, and I think when I made that decision, they they knew much sooner than I did that that was going to be good for me in undertaking that I would do well in that. I just said, you know, let's just go do it. This sounds like some way to start over or have a good start or get into. I don't even really remember the reason why. Um, I know it changed when I got to basic training. I said, I need more of this. This is what I want to do. This is it. This is it. And how do we get to the next level and keep going up and being more successful? But really, that time, I don't really remember. It was kind of just a blur by, and then boom, your basic training. But everyone was very supportive, and they, I think they knew I was going to do well. I didn't have any confidence in myself at that point. Just okay. Now we got a task. Let's get to the gym, get ready, start working on cardio, and because I think I had in my mind like that it was going to be difficult getting to basic training, so I was hyping myself up, and it
Yeah.
wasn't.
Well, Dan, you were a drill sergeant for considerable time. I mean, do you think you were able to really gauge, young privates? There's my dog barking. See who has potential and who doesn't. I mean, obviously you've got your hard cases, which are a no, but I mean, you've got that kind of gray area.
Like by the end of red phase, who is going to, make it all the way through, barring injury, of course, but or something stupid. By the end of the first 3 weeks, who's going to make it. Um, you don't know necessarily who's going to make it a career or is going to be, super successful, but you can tell who's going to make it through basic training, yeah, or OSA, yeah. So you joined in 2010 ish,
11.
11,
Yeah, went to basic training in April of 2011 to Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
and what was your MOS?
13 Papa, which doesn't exist anymore, but at the time it was a multiple launch rocket systems fire direction system specialist.
Yep.
And I failed the colorblind dot test at MEPS, so I got MLRS FDC.
But that wasn't something that you picked.
I know it wasn't. I don't remember what I originally had. I don't even. I've thought about this a bit. I don't. It wasn't infantry, but maybe something with helicopters or something like that. I'd have to. I don't know. It was.
But,
I don't know.
but you failed the colorblind test, and you were just
Horribly.
randomly assigned needs of the army, or you
No, the guy
chose.
said he said here's what you qualify for with your ASVAB. Because before that, he's like you can do whatever you want. And then they're like, yeah, you got to get in so you can get a waiver to go do whatever you want afterwards. He said, once you're in, there's a waiver for everything. I was like, I'm not
True.
colorblind. I'm not colorblind. And they're like, well, you failed the dot test. So I passed the red green. And then they said, well, you can do this. And so I said, okay, I'll do that. That'll get me in. And special forces wasn't a focus yet because I still had hopes that the army would be what I thought it was going to be. And that was dashed after like 15 minutes, I think. So once I got to basic, I said, yep, let's just get through this and get to my unit so I can go to selection. And even my drill sergeant, he told me we were probably still in red phase. He's like, you're not going to be happy at just go to selection when you get to your unit. And that's what I did. I went to the briefing a week after I got there, and I was at selection 90 days later. I hurt myself and came back, but I went right back and passed. So
How did you get the idea in your head for special forces?
the Marines wouldn't take me. and the Army recruiter um, I said, "What's the hardest thing you got?" Because I've had in my mind also that going Marines was the thing. You know, they're very good at marketing,
Oh
and
The
yeah.
as to a
best.
civilian, you think, and some of them may be. I wish every service believed in themselves like the Marines believe in each other. I think the military
That's
would be
fair.
a much better place.
Yeah.
Um, they do that the best. They Marines love being Marines, and they love other Marines, and they're the most supportive. And I wish the rest of the service was like that.
It's funny you say that because the psyop that's involved with the Marine Corps, which basically is like, hey, we're a really awesome club, and we're pretty sure you're not good enough to be in it. What that does to a young man, particularly a young man's psychology, is a pretty potent thing versus some of the other services that just throw themselves at you. And it seems a little counterintuitive unless you understand how 19, 20, 21 year old young hotshots think.
Plus, the Marines can afford to be selective because they're not a real
True.
branch. So,
Ouch. Ouch.
Well, at least they're the men's department. So,
so you did you enlist with a special forces contract?
no, I didn't even know that. I don't know if my recruiter even knew that was a thing. And I was pretty aloof also in preparing for this. It's like, let's just go. Like, what is all this? And really, up until I got to bit, I was like, whatever. Yeah, let's just, whatever, let's just go. Let's just get in. All the Army's going to be awesome. It's fine. We'll get in. It'll be a job. Everybody's a soldier and all this other stuff. Whatever. Uh, I mean, I didn't even know how well I did on the ASVAB. I went and told them my score, and they're like, "What do you can do whatever you want." I said, "Oh, how did you score so high?" I was like, "The answers are on the screen. It's a multiple choice test. What do you mean? The wrong, like, there's the answers up there. You don't have to, you just eliminate the other three answers. This is stupid." And he's like, I was like, "Well," so I picked out my thing, and I was like, "Let's go, let's get after it. Let's get out of this place and get to it." But no, it didn't really come to the forefront. I knew that SF was like there. I was like, he's like, 'cause I asked the crew, I was like, "What's the hardest thing?" And they're like, "Oh, special forces." It's like, okay, I want to do that. And once I got to basic, I said, "Okay, we're going to crush this. We're going to go to AIT, crush that, and then we're going to go selection somehow." And that's kind of all I had in my mind. And it just, I don't want to say it increased. It doubled. My wanting to do it doubled every day
Yeah.
until it become the only thing that I was concerned with. Um, I mean, looking back now, I thought E3 with full 5 months time in service said, "I'm going to Special Forces selection." Like, what? Can you imagine hearing that as the first sergeant now? And going, but luckily, my NCO, he goes, "Yeah, man, you don't belong here. Just go." I mean, he could have been terrible about it in the other direction from what I heard from other people. So
Oh yeah.
I lucked out with that, and just, but I was obsessed. I was obsessed with it, pretty wholeheartedly.
How did you get injured your first crack at selection?
I think it was a series of unfortunate events. The Army tried to kill me in November of 2011 with a misdiagnosis. I got strep, strep G, which apparently, if you test for strep throat, it doesn't show up. But if you got to do a special test for strep G, so I had this, I just had a sore throat, and that turned into a staph infection in my throat, underneath my tongue, and on my
Wow.
face. And then they sent me to communicable diseases doctor on post, and they told me I can't talk, mind you. My tongue won't move. I can't eat food. I can't talk. I'm dying. And the doctor says, "We think you have syphilis or herpes or something like that." And I'm like, I couldn't believe it that I was listening to this, but I couldn't respond. So I got worse. This is over 3 weeks that all this went on. I'm I got to the point where I couldn't eat, and then I got to the point where I couldn't drink. And I went to the emergency room. The first time they did nothing. They said, we can't find any. I don't know if they said we can't find anything wrong with you, but they let me go. The second time they gave me, they like, oh, we know what's wrong with you. They gave me one dose of penicillin, then sent me home, which made me better for 8 hours. And then I got much, much, much worse. And then uh, finally, the last time, my buddy, shout out to Alex, he tells this story much better than I do, but he comes over and I'm staring at the wall. The TV's on over here, and I'm like hallucinating. And he picked me up and took me to the hospital. I thought I was dead. I thought I was in hell, and I didn't know where I was. And at one point, this nurse who was way past her prime from southern Louisiana comes in and puts a catheter in my arm, and there's blood shooting out of my arm, and I think I'm dead. And so, long story short, the army tried to kill me by not diagnosing me correctly and not like you can't go to like sick call. The doctor's like, you're fine, puts me on quarters. I got sicker and sicker and sicker. I got more and more dehydrated. So I lost all of my train up in November. And so I tried to get it all back in December. I think I may have overdone it because when I got to selection, my knee started to hurt immediately. And it just got to the point where it locked up on land nav and they pulled me. I couldn't bend my leg anymore. And so I was a little over halfway done.
The Star Course.
And yeah, but I was fine until then. And yeah, I thinking about it now, I probably overdid it in too short of tried to make up ground, and I wasn't gonna make that up because I had lost 30 pounds during that time. I was sick, very, very sick. And I even think back, I'm like, is that true? Like, did that happen? And Alex and we went back through the story, like, yeah, that it was bad. I was the one doctor or medic, he said, you had a staph infection in your throat. You could have died. I said, yeah, I guess I did. So I don't think too highly of the Army medical system after that because I'm convinced they were trying to kill me.
I'm surprised that the unit still sent you, recovering from something serious.
Even after that happened, it wasn't like I had uh, dropped below the standard. I was still like the best at my unit. So it's not like I was just wasn't who I was before. And I was pretty confident. That probably led to me pushing it too far. I mean, you're given everything you got. I was determined to be there, but it ended up working out for me. I failed, and it served as motivation going forward. I got that bump in the road out of the way early, and on the train up on the second time and going back and all the things that I did to get what I wanted out of my unit, just to get to the course, just to go and train off post like I wanted to on my lunch break and all these other things that I did to manipulate my command. It worked out for me. Failing that time, I left no doubt my second
Yeah.
time. I
It can
knew
actually be
from
a
the
gift.
moment I left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you use it right.
I knew I was going to get selected. Everybody knew I was going to get selected. I didn't specifically say it, but I 100% knew it.
Were you doing all the train up, uh, either the first time or the second time or both times? Were you doing all the train up yourself, or did you have somebody that was doing it with you because they were going to selection, or did you just have an NCO that was maybe helping you out, or how did you go about doing it?
No, first time, kind of just rucking in free time, doing extra workouts. I don't know if I started CrossFit at that time. Um, so you got to do PT in the morning with the unit, and then no, it was just training up on my own. The recruiter was a civil affairs recruiter, and he wasn't stationed at Fort Sill. I think he was either at Fort Riley or Fort Leavenworth, and he would do a
A
trip
circuit.
Yeah.
TDY.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he gave me a train up or anything. I didn't meet a Green Beret until I got to selection the first time. So no, it was all on me. But the second time, um, after I'd come back, I found out that you could go to not promotion boards, but Soldier of the Month boards, and if you win, you keep going to them. And I went to one, and I won, and I went to the next one, I won, and went to the next one, I won, and went to the next one, I won. And Command, they just let me do. I was on Rear D, I think. No, I was going to go on Rear D, but they let me do whatever I want at that point because I was always either studying or training up to go to selection or whatever. So they kind of just let me do whatever I want. Um, it's a weird manipulation thing that I had going on that worked out for me, but I was able to train how I wanted, and I got um, a lot of leeway with how I wanted to do it as a private.
So you're an artillery guy. You're going to selection. You know you want to be special forces. Did you know which region, language, or MOS you wanted from within the 18 series at this point, or are you just kind of making it up as you go along?
No, I think at some point in there, on the second train up or even after selection, I said, what's the easiest way to get my beret for me? And that was Charlie, to go be an engineer. Because I said, you know, I've been in construction my whole life, that easy. And everything in that career path seems heavily dependent on your ability to use tools, basic math, and common sense. And I said, I think I got a handle on those. So I went Charlie. For me, that was the easiest way to get my beret, to guarantee that I wasn't going to have as many hiccups along the way as some other guys. Because if I went Echo or Bravo, I didn't have a background in that where I felt comfortable. And I definitely did not want to be Delta,
Yeah.
a medic. So that was last on my list. So I think it went Charlie, Echo, Bravo, Delta is the order I wrote down.
Well, Charlies also have to be very resourceful as far as logistics are concerned too, which is something that can be very helpful outside the service as well.
Yeah, and a little bit of a little shady. Charlie's got to be a little shady. They
Well, I
got to
wasn't going
be
to
in with.
say it though.
You got to make stuff happen from time to time.
Magic Man.
And yeah, one of my best friends in the whole world was the supply guy, and we were good friends.
Okay, so you sail through selection the second go round. At some point,
It was hard, but
yeah.
yeah, it's,
When I say sail, I mean you didn't
it
get
still sucked.
med dropped and almost die. So we'll uh we'll call that a
I
win.
did. It still sucked. I left nothing on the table, but it still sucked. I say that as like I crushed it, but it still sucked.
Yeah, fair enough. So what language? Because everybody listening may not necessarily know how this works. So, what language did you get? Is it the one you wanted? Can you tell them about the D Lab? I'll talk about language and region and stuff.
I can't tell you nothing about the D Lab. I don't remember. I remember I walked in there. I said, "What is this?" And I took the test, and I had less of an idea. I had less of an idea after I took it than I did before I took it. I went, I don't know. And I wrote down Thai because I wanted to go to first group. At that point, I had decided I wanted to go to first group, and I was like, I want to go to Asia, so I want to go to first group, Thai and Charlie, and I wrote those down as my top, and that's what I got. But D Lab, nah, oof. There were people that said I was getting it, getting what?
Yeah.
Like, I
So
if I
it's
got anything right on that, it was by mistake.
it's the Defense Language Aptitude Battery, and it's a made up language. They give you a handful of rules and say, hey, these rules apply to this make believe language. So apply. And they're basically testing your ability to learn a language because it's not a real language other than what they made up in the schoolhouse.
Mm.
And, you get a high score on that. Congratulations, you're getting Mandarin or Farsi or something like that. You get a lower score, then you're probably getting a Romance language. So that's the short version. So, but you got the region you wanted and the language. So very good.
Was there a particular reason that you wanted to go to Asia and to go to first group? Just because it sounded cool or something piqued your interest?
Well, you only got five. Well, you really got four, choices. one South America, Asia, third and fifth, kind of little overlap in there, and then 10th in Europe. So three, three. I don't know. That was just what I wanted, I guess. Mm, no, I don't know. I don't know if I had a good reason. That's just what I wanted. That's just where I
Yeah,
wanted to go. I and at this point I hadn't been anywhere, so that just sounds cool. Let's go to
yeah,
Asia. So
yeah.
I,
I was an Asian guy. Yeah,
there's not a lot of of thought behind some of these decisions until they became iron. Like, okay, we made the decision. Now we're going that direction, and we're not going to deviate. So it wasn't a lot of thought to it. It's just like, okay, that's it. We're done. We're done with that decision making process. On to the next thing.
I mean, I certainly get it. I was an Asia guy too. I was a civil affairs guy. But I was Asia too. I mean, it was interesting region to me. It's enormous, obviously, but the big part of it was I wanted to do a language that I didn't have to learn characters, but was in Asia, and so that's how I ended up getting Filipino. And I didn't want to keep going back to the Middle East over and over and over and over and over and over again because I'd done a few rounds. So believe me, I understand. Like, let's do something else. And yeah, there's always something to do in Asia.
Yeah, yeah, there is.
Okay, so you show up to first group. Did you go to Oki or were you with JBLM?
No, I was JBIM. Went to
Okay, so you,
Third Battalion, First Special Forces Group. I've got. I don't remember anything except sitting down with Sergeant Major Karan, Eric Karan, excellent leader, um, and I had another guy next to me, and only thing I remember is, "Can you swim?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Great, you're going to the dive team." And
makes sense.
I don't know if I would have said yes. It would have been any different decision, but I think I was. So, for everybody listening, usually two MOSs per team. I was Charlie 4 on the dive team. So, get sent down to the dive team. I was Charlie 3 or Charlie 4. I wasn't 2 for that's for sure. But the company was very full at that time. So, Sergeant Major's like, all right, you're going down to the dive team. We went down there, get your I must have brought a case of beer. Everybody brings a case of beer. It's a it's a written and unwritten rule that you can't show up without beer. Um, but must have had my case of beer. Got down there, and man, if you guys were to ask me like specific questions, but 2015 is pretty foggy, so we're gonna have to pick out some pick out some more specific things in there. So I got to the team at the end of January. So went to 1335, which is the dive team in Charlie Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Special Forces Group.
So I mean, did they send you to dive school very soon after? No, not really. Okay.
I got hurt the week before MAC, which is Maritime Assessment Course, which I was also not ready for. I wasn't ready to get hurt either, the way I did, but it's okay. I get a check on the first of every month, and I'm afraid of the ocean, so it's an added little bonus there. So, no, I was, you're expected to go to, especially with that team sergeant that we had. Uh, Being a diver was the only thing that mattered on the dive team, and going to MAC, which I would have done terrible in. Terrible. I'm afraid. I was afraid of the water then, and now it's double what it was then. So I hated the water. I hate open water. I hate water I can't see in. It some people freak out, and I'm one of those. And even when there's nothing wrong, I do not like it. I don't like water I can't see through, and there's just something about it, the dark. Uh, so, yeah, no, I did not go to dive school. No, I didn't go to MAC, but I did go to a dive team. Which, if you anybody listening out there, from my perspective, 1 star, wouldn't recommend, but good to those guys that passed dive school. I do. I got a lot of respect for the guys that go past dive school. They are studs.
That is a
That
rough.
is the toughest school that you can go to. Well, it's the toughest on the books school that you can go to. Like when you look down the list of schools that are like available to the Army, that's the toughest one you can go to.
So What did you end up doing then on the dive team? Since you had no interest in being near even more than a bathtub.
Man, I don't know. I don't know. I remember we went to the range one day. I remember that. Um, I remember my team starting. It's like, well, the issue facility, they don't have any body armor, so you're gonna have to go buy your own. I went, is this a real place? Like, what are you talking about? I gotta go buy my own. I remember having that. I I know we shot long distance one day, and but I don't remember what we did other than that. And then we went down to Camp Rylea, Fort Rylea in Astoria, Oregon, just south of the Columbia River there,
Yep.
in April, mid-April, I think, of 2015. And yeah, so I'll go down the list here. We were supposed to be out in 3 to 5 foot waves. We were out in 12 to 15 foot waves. We were supposed to have the big engines for the Zodiacs. We had the small engines. We were supposed to have the hard bottoms. We had the soft bottoms. We were supposed to have 6 people in each boat. We had 5 people in each boat. We were supposed to have some experience in the boats as well, and we just didn't, because as soon as we kicked out the people with experience in the surf, they were not in the boat anymore, and the only person that had experience in the surf was on the engine. And Everything got worse from there. So yeah, so I got hurt that day, and that was it. That was my whole SF career as a Green Beret on an ODA was ended that day. That was it. I got hurt. I got 2 concussions out on the ocean, I think, and then I would have recovered from those two if they would have sent me home. Team sergeant didn't want to send me home. Didn't want to stop training. He, I think, he overruled, and I don't know how he did this. Overruled the new team leader that we had, who was a captain, um, and said, no, we're not sending him home. They kept me around, and it kept me around long enough to grab the handle of the van. You know, right when you're sitting in the seat and you got the handle you can hang on to. Well, I grabbed the handle, and I had no spatial awareness, so I pulled the door frame into my face, and then I let go, and I fell back and bounced my head off the concrete, off of the step. So it's not that far, but it is when you've already been knocked around. Had 2 pretty good blows to the head, and then just straight like bounce my head off the concrete. Um, that hit there to the back of my head set off all 10 of the concussions I'd had up to that point.
Yeah.
All the
Well, they do
symptoms from all
compound.
of them came back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shooting pains, vomiting, dizziness, vertigo. I didn't get out of bed for like 40 days or something like that. I lost a ton of weight. I was sickly. I'd wake up and the room would be spinning. I'd take some painkillers and go back to sleep. I remember, even so, the symptoms were so bad. The first appointment I went to after I got like coming back to work, I threw up at that appointment. And it was like a month and a half or 2 months later. I was still
Yeah.
um, I was still like acute, like I had just gotten knocked, like hitting on the football field, and it was like I got too worked up and I started throwing up at that appointment. That was messed up too. So it became apparent, um, and this is where I get fuzzy, and I don't want to fudge the story or whatever, but it became apparent that I was never going to go back to a team. I was never going to be uh, an operational Green Beret again. I did a lot of cool stuff and support side, and I was allowed to operate with no supervision and do some cool things in some other places, and things like that. But I, my time, I was only on an ODA for 90 days, and I don't remember any of it.
How did they go about the medical personnel? How did they go about getting some of those symptoms and concussive side effects under control?
when they told me when they told me they wanted me to get medically retired, I disappeared, man. I went into the security blanket of special forces and I disappeared. And I didn't come back out until we came down on orders for Afghanistan when I couldn't avoid it. You know, so I I just dealt with it. Um, yeah, it's some shooting pains. I'd get these stabbing pains through my head that would go all the way down my leg, and immobilize me. They sent me to in 2017. They sent me to Walter Reed. I thought I was going to Nyco, and I went to some like knockoff of Nyco across the street.
Yep.
And
I know exactly what you're
I
talking about.
remember the inpatient one, and I was not happy. I remember I was not happy, but I also couldn't regulate my emotions very well for those few years. I was kind of not a great person, um, and then I think I was drinking a lot too, or at least I was starting to drink a lot too. A lot of self medicating, and yeah. So the army, they they may have tried, but that was in April of 2015. I got hurt. I disappeared into the company and started working half days, and then they'd give me little projects to work on. I even went. I think I went TDY to NTC at one point to be an OC. I was, yeah, um, but no, I don't think I really took it seriously. And our B team sergeant, I don't know if I want to say that. The the norm at the company was drinking culture,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it became an everyday thing up until we went to Korea in 2016. So I mean, every day you're really hitting it. So that probably wasn't the healthiest thing into it. And then we went to Korea in 2016 for 6 months, and I had an episode in May of 2016 in Korea where I ended up in the hospital, and that kind of put a damper on things. And then that what led me to going to treatment at the end of no, that was in 2016. At the end of 2016, I went
yeah.
to Walter Reed, not 17. So I'm jumping around a little bit here. Sorry, I'm off on a tangent because now
No,
there's all these things in my head.
We would have been in Korea at the same time. I was
I was
I
in
was up in
Daegu.
Area One. No.
I had a blast. I had a blast. I lived on a Korean Air Force base and had no supervision
Which one were you?
unless K2.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast. I had a blast.
I always tell people Korea deployments. I say deployment. Korea tours vary. I was up in Area One and it was not fun, but all the guys down south were just drinking and partying and goofing off and had a blast and kept re-upping. I was in 2ID up in
Yeah.
Area One. It was not fun.
No, no. Yeah, that's up at Camp Casey and on the border up there with those guys. There's not experiences may vary. I didn't have that. I I put in some work though at certain times. I had a lot of fun. I got to do some really ambiguous stuff. Sergeant Sergeant Major one day he's like, "Hey, how you feeling?" I was like, "Good." Why? And he's like, "I need you to go." He's like, gives me a sheet of paper. He's like, go run this lane." And I had to drive like out into the, and I say mountains, and the training area or
Yeah,
this park out in Korea, and meet up with like this other guy out there. And I was like, "What am I out here for?" He's like, you're gonna run a training lane." I was like Robin Sage. He's like, "Yeah," and he hands me like a sheet of paper, and I'm like, what do I do? And he's like, "That's all we got, man. That's all we got from hire. Figure it out." And that's we all were just out the place. It was so messed up. And he's like, it was like the schedule, and you had to come up with this. Oh, it was so funny.
we basically need
Um,
to plan. You to plan this thing, from go. Here you
but
go.
I, looking back on it now, I get it. There's, we got to grab a warm body Green Beret, and he'll go figure it out. But man, I had like a year in group, and half of that I'd been in medical treatment, at this time, and
They don't know
I
that.
don't know how to I don't know how to what team life is like or anything like that. So I figured it out. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun out there,
Yeah,
just bopping around the woods and the team just sucking and things like that. So
yeah.
I got to do some stuff. I just didn't get to do the ODA thing.
You were joking around about Area One up there in the Camp Case area. It for the Game of Thrones fans, it often felt like the Night's Watch up there, where you're just there. Nobody has any fun, and you're just on the other side of the wall from the horde. And yeah,
Well, I come from Fort Sill, and all I knew about up north was all the field artillery stories that they would tell me because the Fort Sill, they would go Fort Sill to Korea and then do a year and then they'd have to come back
yeah.
and do 3 years and then they go right back to Korea. And they're like, oh, every one of them had an Article 15 or from being out after curfew. And
They don't play around in
and
Area
just
One.
they're
Yeah,
having a terrible time and they just hated it. One guy's like, the second rotation, I never left my barracks room. If I wasn't at formation or in the motor pool, I just never left my barracks because I didn't want to get in trouble. And then I think he even said, and I still would get in trouble, just not going out because somebody else would mess up and you get in trouble if
association.
somebody else
Yeah,
messed up. Yeah. So yeah, that's, I didn't have that experience. I don't think any of my friends did either.
Dan somehow dodged Korea. So
Yes, I avoided it like the plague. And then my brother ended up being there for like 6 years. He loved it.
well, to be fair, his language was Hangul. So
Mm, yeah. Fit in with the culture.
So you had another episode while you were in Korea, and then you were sent from Korea to Walter Reed.
No, I finished up in Korea, the rotation. And we came back in, I think, June and then reset. And yeah, we came back. And oh, that was it. We went we went right to NTC after we got back. So it was this, yeah, we had to go right back to NTC for something. They had planned this right afterwards. So we went right there. And I had some more like the worst time to have an episode is in front of the commander. I had like two of them where I had this like I describe it as like a fish hook through my eye, and it would just be all of a sudden. Well, it happened a couple times in front of the commander, and he's like, "Well, we got to do something about this because he's in charge," you know. So um, that was probably, and that didn't help later. That shit would happen. Sorry about that. That would happen. It happened in front of the colonel once too. And I'm like, oh man, is my body like trying to tell me to get out in front of these officers? I thought about that afterwards. Like, why are you doing this to me in front of these people that have to act on something if they see it, you
Yeah.
know? But yeah, so we went down there and we come back. And my buddy from the Q course, he sits down for me. I went to sick call for something, and he sits down. I said, "Hey, what's going on, man?" And we got to talking. He said, "Oh yeah, my company's going to Korea for another rotation." And I said, "Oh, what company are you in?" And he told me, and I stood up. I didn't even finish. I didn't even go see the doctor. I went back to Sergeant Major's office, and I said, "Hey, can I go over to Charlie Second Battalion and go back to Korea?" And this, for everybody out there, don't be afraid to go ask Sergeant Major or First Sergeant for something. There might be a need for it. And he goes, as a matter of fact, at Sergeant Major's meeting this morning, Charlie Company just asked for somebody, an NCO, to go Advon. And I said, I'll do it.
yeah,
And that was it. I went to that treatment at Walter Reed. It was, and nothing got solved there. They couldn't find anything that was wrong with me. Um, and the colonel said, some of the stuff that issues you're having, we might only be able to see what they are after you're dead. I said, oh, that's helpful. Thank you.
Yep.
So that was it. So I finished up there and went over to Second Battalion. And I went to Korea for another 8 months. Went on Advon, and yeah, it was a blast. I had a
back to
blast.
K2.
Yeah, I went all over this time though. I bounced all over the country, more than I did the time before. But yeah, primarily out of K2. Um, and I lived out in the city as well.
What was your primary role on Advon? For those that may not understand what that is or have never done it before.
So we went on, I don't know if it was told to us, we went on rotation one out there and set up this company at K2. And because no, we didn't rip out with anybody, we brought all the vehicles and equipment and boxes and all kinds of stuff. And a National Guard SF company ripped out with us in June of 16, I believe. And they only had orders until the beginning of November. So they needed a bridge from November, December into January when the company could arrive in 2017. So I said I was just there. I know the property book. I was just signed for all that stuff a couple months ago. I'll go back. I had some ulterior motives too, personal stuff in the country. But I said, yeah, I'll go. I would blast. And they gave me 4 soldiers, and I went. And uh, I don't know if I was specifically told what to do. I've thought a lot about that. I don't know if I was told what to do. I knew what not to do. I knew not to cause an international incident, and that was number one on the agenda, was to not get arrested or kicked out of the country. So
This Korean police don't play around.
yeah, the courtesy patrol as well. They're paired up with them. It wasn't too bad down in Daegu, but on Bar Street there, they would be out. Um, I officially never got in trouble for curfew or anything like that, so I never caused
Officially.
an incident.
Officially.
I have my good conduct medal, 2 of them, and I'm
I mean, what
good.
else do you want?
Hey, hey, they wouldn't give it out if it wasn't earned.
They don't just give those away, Dan. uh, okay, so I'm making an assumption here, but you're finishing up your 8-month second tour in Korea. I assume at this point, do you know at this point the writing's on the wall for you?
Yeah, yeah. And even now, um, I couldn't get hit in the head again. Like I couldn't. You can't send me back to a team. The sergeant major can't send me back to a team. What
Yeah,
if I get hit in the head again and I hurt somebody else? Then you got two problems instead of one. You can't do that. I would I where I'm at in life now with what I know and think and how I act. I am that age now to be a company sergeant major or coming into being looked at for that, and I wouldn't. There's no way I was going back to a team ever. You know,
Yeah.
had I hidden it or been able to hide it and nobody knew about it or kept it inside the team room, then they didn't have a decision to make to hold me off of a team. Like there's guys that hide stuff or put off injuries or don't get things documented, and they're able to do that. But once the commander and sergeant major know about it, like, dude,
yeah,
Yeah, like you said, you had multiple episodes in front of the commander, and even the colonel. So you can't get around that.
yeah, I got back from the second trip to Korea, and uh, yeah, they sent me back over to the Charlie Company, Third Battalion, and they didn't know what to do with me, and they said, "All right, you're going to staff." So they sent me to be the battalion taskings NCO as after that, and that was in 2017, I think, midway through 2017. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, we will get into the tasking NCO, but first let's take a break. your time in the operating environment is done, and your medical issues are taking a toll on what would be your career. So you get sent to the staff. How did you react to that? Did you kind of already know that it was coming? You just accepted the assignment or threw yourself into it the way you had thrown yourself into pretty much everything you've done?
That was a chill job. Like, okay, what do I got to do? You got to fill out this sheet here, and you got to look who's on Red Cycle, and you got to, you get the emails from group, and if you don't understand something, go ask Sergeant Major. Um, and pretty much Sergeant Major had already said, if I'm not here, you figure it out yourself. Um, and so, the off sergeant, I thought it was fine. I said, I got more time to hang out here in group. And I think, I think at that time I thought I was going to be able to weasel my way into staying. And I thought I had that figured out, and it turns out I didn't. And, and I'm out. So, uh, I mean, I was fine. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And even looking back now, I'd put my uniform back on to go back to do that job. I'll
Yeah.
go, I'll go to the schoolhouse. I'll go train people. I'll do whatever. Like, I don't have to be on an ODA. Like, it's fine. I'll go be a drill sergeant. I don't even have to be like, I loved being in the military. It sucked at times, but I was where I wanted to be. I was in a special forces group. I was a Green Beret. I didn't have a great attitude at that time, but like I still was where I wanted to be, and maybe I thought things would get better. They didn't, but I was where I was. That's far better than what happened after I got out. Like that sucked. Like I don't know. Maybe I always thought I was going to be able to stay until I wasn't.
When did the hammer drop that they were going to either you were going to get out on your own or you were going to be medically retired?
Oh, oh God, it had a while until I was supposed to reenlist. I don't know. We came out on our orders for Afghanistan um, in 2018, I think, and yeah, I couldn't deploy. Everybody was going, and I couldn't go. I think it was deploy or get out at the time, and
Yeah, we've got a few of those. Yeah.
yeah, and that applies to everybody. So uh, I thought I was going to get to go back to Korea for 3 years to go be the LNO, I think, up at Sakor,
Yeah.
which was
Great.
another staff job
Yeah.
at a desk. But I was fine with it. I loved Korea at that point. I was like, yeah, let me go, and that never materialized. I think it was more real to me than it was actual in reality because I had the not the regiment, the special forces. Oh fuck, what's it called at HRC? Our
Branch manager.
Yeah.
branch manager. That's it at HRC. I had him on the other night. He's the first group sergeant major, and he goes, "What year was that?" I said, 18, and he goes, "Yeah, there was no deal. You That wasn't a thing. I was there." And I went, "Oh, that's so sad. Oh
The lies
man."
we tell ourselves. Fair
So that, well, I don't know if it was the lies I told myself. I thought I had a deal with my sergeant major, and I didn't.
enough.
So um, that's kind of a bummer to find out all these years later that that wasn't true. So uh, yeah, it goes real fast once they initiate the paperwork. You're out. Like you start doing your classes and
Yeah.
appointments and all this other shit, and you're out. So
So the med board is rolling downhill at this point, and there's nothing you can do to stop it.
no, I thought I was going to be able to weasel my way out of it, and no, I wasn't. Like I couldn't. There's no way out of that once they start it. And I
Yeah.
mean, my disqualifying condition was like a 50. I think I have a 50% on my one, so there's no way they were. And they even said, and that was a. I should have. maybe they're like, "Do you want to reclass?" And I'm like, "No, that's dumb." Uh,
Yeah.
and maybe I should have tried that, but I even looking back at it, that wasn't going to happen either. Um, you know, well, I can't get hit in the head anymore. And I mean, I was getting hit in the head all the time. I didn't even lay out like the timeline in the military for you guys. I got hit. I got knocked out in basic training in the doing the pugils. I got hit. That kid hit me so hard, I got knocked unconscious. Just a perfect swing out. And the drill sergeant's waking me up. He's like, "You got to get up, or we got to call the ambulance. Get up, get up."
That
I'm
sound
like,
right,
"Oh
Dan?
man, what happened?" I was like, "How did I get down here?" I was in basic. I fell off my. I think I fell in AIT, smacked my head on the um, foot locker hard. There, I got to my unit, and they sent me to combatives, and the instructor hit me as hard as I've ever been hit in my life in doing the clinch drill. And you go in, and he wound up and gave an
Yeah.
uppercut and hit me as hard as he could. I remember, I don't remember much from that. I remember I was in searing pain, in like that metallic searing pain in my head the entire rest of combatives level 1, and just ringing in my ears and pain. Just sucked. I remember that was so painful. I was in so much pain for the rest of that. And God, I, I got whacked with one of the pipes in selection during down pilot. Got hit really hard in the back of the head by one of the pipes coming around. I mean, and that's that in the course. I don't know if anything happened in the course. A couple heat cats that couldn't have
Did you
helped.
did you get a sear? I mean, I think we've had two people on who got med dropped at sear for it during barriers. I think for falling, and I don't know anything there.
No, I don't think. I don't think I was ever on the line. I did have a couple heat cats though that were. I that can't be good getting to that because I was bad.
Yeah, your brain's cooking. Yeah,
I was way past on the one for sure, and the other one I was out in this field and I went down, and I was like, well, we're gonna have to figure out how to. Like I was way overheated, and I just remember I sat there, I drank all my water, and I lost like an hour and a half. I just sipping. I remember the survival show. They're like, sip your water. So I was just doing this, sipping my water until I came back to life. I finished um, the land nav course and passed that night, and I got to go home. And I sat on the couch that whole 4-day weekend, and I was dead to the world. That messed me up. That night was bad. And that was not long after that had happened. That was only a couple weeks after the one at CLT had happened too. Now that I think about it, yeah, that was only a couple weeks later that I had a nut like. So those two, and maybe I'm overdoing them. Maybe I'm like thinking back on like they were worse than they were. But I was throwing up for the one and cold, and like I had to
yeah.
get two
If you're getting the
IVs,
chills
and
and you're throwing up, then you're in bad
I was
shape.
throwing up the chills, and they had to put two IVs in me and to put the ice sheet and put the ice jacket
Ice
on me to
sheets.
bring
Yep.
me back. Yeah. No, the frozen. It was a frozen like bulletproof vest style
Those are cool
thing.
too. Yeah. The
Um, but they sent me back to training after that. The cadre kind of looked at each other and were like, "Are we good? Can we send them?" And it's return to train. I didn't go down, so they sent me back. And then a couple weeks later, we did land nav out at the NTA on Bragg, and I went down out in the field by myself, and I just had to bring myself back to life, drinking the mix from
you're
the
doing the
MREs
ORS.
with my water. The first one I got, I had too many ORSs. I drank too many of them. Maybe I didn't listen to the instructions, and I went the other way. I got hypersalinated or something like that,
Yeah.
super something, and that's what caused that first one. The second one was I just wasn't. I was I was putting in all my effort, and it was so miserable hot out there that time. So
Yeah.
I just dumped all my hydration, um, and it's gotten worse ever since then. Like, yeah. So those two in the course there, and And then right when I got to my team was that bad day on the ocean. Um, and then after that, a few months after we got back, slammed a door into my head. Um, Another thing, I pulled the door right into my head and fell. So it was all these, and I describe them and they're like, they sound like an injury or whatever, but it's whatever. But that was just from the military. I'd only been in the military for 4 years at that point when all these happened, all these blows to the head or whatever. I took a baseball bat to the head at, I've taken full soccer kicks as a goalie to the side of my head.
No.
Um, I took a 80-pound compressor through a ceiling to the back of my head when I was in construction.
Whoa.
It was a 12-foot ceilings in this kitchen we were working in, and somebody took the drink compressor off of the wall, and instead of putting it on the floor, they put it up in the drop ceiling. And when I walked underneath it, it fell and hit me in the back of the head. It knocked me out. Um, I've had that happen. Fell
Not
off my
service
bike
related.
up into the air. No, this is all before. So I had a long history and
Not
stuff
service
like
related.
that. So I get down on myself about the concussions because you can't see them. But man, I've been hitting the head a lot, like a lot. Or maybe it all does add up. Maybe I'm not. So I try not to get down. I try not to get too down on myself. But it is definitely is an injury you can't see.
So 2018, you're going through the MEB.
Yeah, yeah,
Medical
I,
evaluation board.
I think at that point, because in the 2000 teens, there was a big stink about how long that process was, and so the Army got really really proud about getting it down to 100 days from start to finish. Was that about how long it took for that process for you?
yeah, yeah. I think so.
About 100 days.
Yeah, probably in and around there from start to finish. It was quick, and I think I was on rear D at that point. I sold all my leave. Um, I think I was out. Yeah, I started my next. Yeah, I was out headed home on October 30th of or October 29th of 2018. Headed back to Wisconsin. So then it was it. They handed me my incorrect DD 214 and retirement certificate. And it's like, hey, I'm a sergeant first class. And he's like, it's okay. And I was like, no, it's not. Can you fix it? And so they fixed it for me. I had to wait, and they they got that fixed, and it's hanging up in the garage. I never look at it, but it's correct at least. And yeah, out the door and back to Wisconsin, and I isolated myself from the only place in the world I wanted to be.
Were you married?
Yeah, my wife and I met in Korea. That's why I kept going back and forth. My girlfriend, and then my
Okay.
fiance, and then my
That
wife.
would be the ulterior
Um,
motive. Yes.
yeah. So um, I'm bringing it up because it's like, oh, you were just going back to hang out with your girlfriend. No, I was going back because I wanted to, and that just happened to be the best that it worked out for me as well. Yeah, somebody said that to me once, and it really bothered me. So I don't bring it up.
Well, you find the silver lining where you can, right? So
I'm an SF guy. Like, if I can make it work for me and for you, I'm gonna make it work. But sold. Sorry, I'm a soldier first, and I took it very seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was always the best. I don't know if I was the best soldier. I don't know if I left special forces any better than when I found it. But I I love being in the military. I'd go back right now. I'm 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 a better Green Beret now than I was then. I'd smash it. I could go back to a team. I could probably pass dive school if I tried really hard at this point. And I'm afraid of the water. Oh, yeah. I After I stopped drinking a year and a half ago, I'm a different person. I I take it very seriously now.
did you have, because you knew that the end of the road was coming? Did you have a plan for when you got out?
Oh,
Did you have no idea of what you wanted to do?
I got luckily offered a job from this on McCord. They had a hiring fair, and I'd go down the booths, and all of them were like, "Do you have any college? No. Do you have any college? No. Do you have any college? No." So I got to one, and they said, "Oh, well, we're having this veteran hiring initiative. This company in Wisconsin. It's like an hour from where my parents lived, so." They did an on the spot interview, and then they called me a day later and set up a real interview. And then at that interview, they said, "Well, now can we bring you to a third interview tonight?" And I said, "Yeah, let's go." So, and they offered me the job on the spot. So in the span of a couple days, I went from no plan, no idea, staying in Lacey, Washington, and gonna figure it out, to I got offered a job from a big tech company that had a huge construction project and development initiative here in Wisconsin. And they gave me an offer letter. I signed it, and we moved to Wisconsin. Um, it was a huge mistake, but we did. It was at least a plan. So,
How do you mean it was a mistake?
oh, it was a fake job for a real company. It was a Chinese company defrauding the United States government out of billions of dollars to develop a science and technology park here in Wisconsin, with no intention of actually um, fulfilling what they said they were going to do. And the department that I was hired for didn't actually have a mission set or a job or anything like that. It was just to hit the job numbers and get the tax incremental financings, because they would come out ahead if they did, to fulfill the contract of what they said they did with the state of Wisconsin. So their intent was to just do A, and then B, and then they would get C in money. So they would come out ahead if they threw a few $1 billion at this project, and they would get more money on the back end if they did it. But it was all um, poorly run and fake. There were real aspects to it. But they just bought up some more farmland near military bases. So if you watch like Fox News, and you look at that graphic of all the farmland that is Chinese controlled, there's a missing spot near Mitchell Airport. It's a couple miles off of the airport, but it's right near it. They own a pretty significant. It's Taiwanese controlled in the park, but then they purchased a bunch of farmland around the park, and it's right down the highway from Mitchell Airport, where the KC-135s fly over all the time. So um, I don't know what it was that they were, but I think that they were just coming after the money. And yeah, it was a big. So I was hired to do nothing. I did nothing, almost nothing, for 18 months and one day, and I was let go during COVID. So they had a chance to sent vacate some positions, and mine was eliminated. So I don't think you were expecting us to go that direction, but yeah,
You're telling me that the Communist Chinese Party was sneaky, underhanded, manipulative, and financially and at the expense of possible national security secrets of the United States? Because I can't believe a word you're saying.
no, no. I mean, well, it was under the guise of a Taiwanese company, but almost all of Foxconn's products are made in China, in Shenzhen and Wuhan,
Yeah,
other places and things like that. So it is a Chinese company.
yeah.
They make all Apple products and all the other stuff. So it was a big thing in Wisconsin here, and it didn't live up to what they said they were going to do. I could talk about it for a day probably, and give you, like, you're like, no, that can't be true. Like, yeah, I think it is.
So
It was all fake, all fake.
China, or as I like to call it, West Taiwan.
Yeah. Well, I hear it's beautiful in the summer.
So for those 18 months when you didn't know that it was all smoke and mirrors,
Oh, I
what were
knew
you
right
doing?
away. 1 hour. I was
Oh,
there
you
an
knew
hour,
right
and
away?
I said, I think we made a huge mistake, and yeah, I wanted to come. I wanted to get in my car and drive back to Lacey. I said, oh, I get this is not what I this is not real. Yeah, we followed through with it anyway. It
I mean, was the money good at least?
was okay. I
Yeah. I used to live in Lacey. I loved Lacey.
Oh yeah,
I
we
loved
were
it.
good there in the house. I can't afford that house I had now. Apparently, it's double what it was when I sold it.
I believe it.
Um, yeah, yeah. The Yeah, pretty much all of the. I was talking to the sergeant major. And he said the cost of living. Yeah, he's got first sergeants that can't buy houses out there now because the cost of living and the BH don't line up anymore. So yeah, I can't afford to live out there anymore. Uh, but
Yeah.
unless you're living in the city and homeless and in one of the camps and stuff, but you're good. But
Olympia never disappointed for people watching, that's for sure.
So, what did you end up doing after you got laid off?
drinking heavily drinking, a lot because it was COVID.
Yeah.
We've watched a lot of movie franchises and 8 in the morning would just drinking, fill out my paperwork that I had to or whatever. And there was nothing to do at that time. You couldn't go anywhere. There was nothing to apply for software. And I lucked out again. I was like, I'm going to start my own construction business, and I just called up this uh, friend of mine who I had bought vehicles from when I worked at the place. That was probably the only thing I ever did there was buy some vehicles for them to drive people around with. And I said, "Hey, I need to get a truck and a trailer. Can you help me out with that?" He's like, "Oh, you ever thought about selling commercial vehicles?" I was like, "No." And so they brought me in. I interviewed, and they offered me a sales job selling commercial vehicles. Not like a retail store, but selling commercial trucks and box trucks and vans and all kinds of stuff. It was more of a, um, I don't know, business to business sort of thing instead of consumer to business to consumer.
Were you good at it?
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
sounds like he
Maybe
regrets it.
I don't know. I was. Uh, Started getting depressed about it. I was like, and then I was like, what am I doing? And then like I'm selling trucks. I used to be somebody, and now I'm just selling trucks. And my mindset was, and I was drinking more and more and more, and getting more down on myself. And it's like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life here? And yep, I was good at it. I was making a lot of money, and the more I made, the more depressed I got. And when I stopped drinking, I was able to see that I wasn't happy there. And so then I couldn't stop myself from voicing my opinion, and I got myself fired because I told people what I thought, and they didn't like that.
They
So I
didn't
got
like
fired.
sober you.
I no, no. I mean, so drunk me was I kept my mouth shut. I'm like, whatever. I don't care. I didn't care. And then when I was not drinking, I'm like, man, I'm not gonna quiet down. Like, this ain't right. This is stupid. Like, what are we doing here? Um, and and it's fine. I got let go. It was a year ago last week. I had, I had the best year of my life. Like, I got let go. I came home. I didn't start drinking again. Started going more to the gym consistently. Got my diet dialed in. Like I'm eating right, sleeping right, working out correctly, on a good schedule. I was sitting at home in October, and unfortunately, the hurricane came through North Carolina. My phone rang, said we got work. I jumped in. I went and got a truck, drove down to North Carolina, worked down there for 2 months, met some great people working in North Carolina emergency management, 12-hour days, managing facilities at a coordination site in Hickory, North Carolina. Uh, Working down there, it was awesome to go back and give back to North Carolina. That gave me like everything, you know. I'm just some dude from Wisconsin coming down. They're like, "Where are you from?" I'm like, I used to go live in Fayetteville, so I like it here. So I got to help out doing that for 2 months. Super rewarding. I got paid, and that came into Thanksgiving. We went through the holidays, and I woke up in January, and I said, "I'm going to start lesser known operators." And lesser known operators did not exist at all in December of 24, but in January of 25, we started all the socials and the show and everything. No research, no studies, no looking into anything, nothing. Just did it, and I'm trying to condense years of work now down into a little bit so I can get it to the point where I can support myself. So yeah, after that, after I lost that job, it was great. Now if I could just get what I want to do to support me, then I'm really working at things. Then I'll really feel good.
So where did the idea for lesser known operators come from?
I think in 16 or 17, I I remember saying, I was like, man, dude, wait, there's some cool people in Soft. I would, what, what is it about all of them or something like that? And I had the idea then, and it just got tabled until the opportunity came up. I said, I'm listening to Rogan, and I asked somebody to go on their show because I thought it was so cool. Podcast, going on a podcast and telling your story and just talking to people. I was like, it's so cool. And somebody told me no, and I don't even know if it was probably a good like I didn't, or I didn't give a good enough reason why I should come on the show. And I'm a nobody, right? And that kind of bummed me out. I was like, I am a nobody. Nobody knows who I am. I got 7 of my friends in my phone. I'm not in the community anymore. I'm completely isolated here in Wisconsin. And then I just said, do your own thing. Like, start your own club, Nick. And I did. I came up with lesser known operators. It was the first thing that I wrote down, the first name for the idea. And I was like, that's it. We're doing that. And it's, we're not that old, 8 months old. And it's, I don't know. I feel like I'm more plugged back into the community than I ever have been. And I'm trying to, as I said before, I don't think I left Special Forces any better than when I got there, but man, I can have an impact now, and I'm not going to waste this opportunity. As Jordan Peterson said in his first book, 12 Rules for Life, or his second book, uh, what will I do with my pen of light? You know, I've got an opportunity here to hopefully make myself fulfilled in the future, but man, I can help other people uh, feel good about themselves, and that's really what I want to do. Uh, Hopefully, I can
Well,
do that.
we can certainly relate to that.
One of the reasons that Roger and I do this is because it's good for us. It's something cathartic to us about talking to veterans about their experiences and stuff. And we think that at least to a small degree there's something cathartic about or for them to talk to us.
It is. It's a selfish, selfless relationship. Two sides of the same coin. Helps them, helps me. Um, I've been having some really good conversations lately with some very interesting people. I told my wife today. I said I'm in that dangerous stage where I have to be aware. I think I know what I'm doing, but I still have no idea what I'm doing. But I think I do, and
Now
I go,
you're
just
dangerous.
now that's when you're dangerous, right? I heard a pilot give that analogy in a little talk the other day. He's like, on my 30th takeoff, that's when I was most dangerous to everybody, the enemy, the friendlies, the aircraft, me. I thought I was a professional, and you're not. Like, that's where I'm at right now. And I realized that. I was like, all right, time now. It's time to put your head down and work. Let's get to work, and that's what I want to do. And like, but it's tough. It's tough because I don't know what I'm doing. So I just got to outwork that.
Well, Dan and I have been doing this for longer than 8 months, and we still don't know what we're doing either. But that's all right. We try to be
Yes,
charming about it.
It's,
Roger tries to
yeah,
be charming. I don't try at
I
all.
try. It falls flat, I'm sure. Nicholas,
that's all right.
you mentioned something earlier. I want to circle back just a little bit. You said you quit drinking, and if
Yeah.
I'd like you to elaborate a little bit. How did you come to that? We'll say epiphany. I mean, You flew past that, and I think this is important because I think there's a lot of people that are in our community that could probably need to hear this.
I'm drinking a lot, like a lot, like a lot, all the time. It was definitely a problem, and yeah, the cops got called one night, and after that night, I just like I really don't want to lose my family again uh, for like a third time. I've ruined my life a lot. Every bad decision, every time I've ruined my life or everything that's gone wrong has been because I've been drinking. Like nothing bad really ever happened when I was sober. Training is one thing, accidents are other things, but yeah, there's nothing. All the good times and all the bad times seem to be associated with alcohol. So, um, yeah, I stopped drinking when I came back home, and that almost killed me. The stopping drinking because I went from full speed to zero.
Yeah,
That was pretty painful experience.
yeah,
So bad because I've done that 3 times, and they've gotten more painful every time to
yeah.
go from cold turkey, from completely dependent to cold turkey. It's pretty painful, and yeah, I have no desire to. There's a lot of whiskey on that wall. Like, well, there's at least 100 bottles that I can see on the wall full of whiskey, but I have no desire to drink, to go back to it. Um, but I just replaced it with the gym. I 100% know that, and everybody can say, "Oh, that's not healthy." Well, I don't know about that. So you can say it's not healthy to replace one addiction with another. I've
Well,
never hurt anybody training how I train. I've never upset anybody. I've never, I've actually only helped people in the gym. So if I can be addicted to that and have a problem with the gym, that's probably a lot healthier than drinking all the time.
Well, I mean, like you said earlier, you only get compliments. Sure, they're from other men at the gym, but you only get compliments. So,
Hey, for everybody listening out there, if you're lonely, let me tell you, if you are lonely and you're looking for somebody to brighten your day or to love you, get your bench press over 400 pounds. And then I guarantee someone will love you. It's just that someone might be a dude.
I mean, that is sage advice if I've ever heard it.
Yeah. You go to the gym, you squat 500 pounds, it's guaranteed to be only dudes that'll love you. Guaranteed. So that's your tip of the day. That's your tip of the day for relationship advice. Because
so,
my wife just calls it all baby weight now. When I throw something, I was like, "You didn't even say anything." She's like, "It's just baby weight." I was like, "Sorry."
so back to lesser known operators.
Yeah.
You've only been doing it for, at the time of this recording, 8 months. Where would you like to see it go? You said that you want to, get it to the point of being able to, support you. But is there like a certain person that you could talk to and just be like, this is the highest of the high, or do you have an amount of people that you would like to talk to? Do you have some goals that are show related that you want to achieve?
I just want people to stop killing themselves.
Yeah. Amen.
Like if I can have that effect on my friends, and I can't care. I do care about everybody, but I mean, okay, I walled off the show to almost exclusively, not exclusive, but almost exclusively special operations, right? Which is a massive amount of the community. And okay, so what do I want to do with that? What do I want to do with my piece of the pie? Rogan's got a pretty cool thing, right? people come out, they stay there, they go to the club, they go on the show. It's a great experience for a lot of people that come on that show, highlight of their lives almost, right? God, wouldn't that be cool if I could do that? Wouldn't it be cool if I could get to that level of success, if I could build a platform that I could give that experience to people who don't think that about themselves,
Yeah.
that don't think they have a story, don't think they're special. I would record every single day if I could. I would record an episode, a 3 hour episode every day if I could. I would release a full 3 hour episode every day if I could. I I want people to be positive moving forward and feel better about themselves. Us, everybody in the space or that has any influence or any sway over people, there's almost nothing we can do to stop people from killing themselves and committing suicide. There's almost nothing we can do. But that other part of it, that's something that we can do. Be an example, because people don't listen. As I said with Travis today, sergeant majors, first sergeants, platoon sergeants, they've been saying in the Army for 50 years, if you need help, reach out to somebody. And what do? Not do it. Don't listen. People don't read signs and they don't listen. They don't do that. But what they do, and what we've all done since we were babies, is watch the people around us and learn from them. And maybe, I wasn't a good person before, but maybe I can be now. Maybe people will see that, and maybe they'll see the people that I hang around with, and what I'm trying to do, and try and be a positive message on my show, and build it for my guests and for their story and things like that, and show that I care. Like when my friend killed himself, it ruined my life, and that's what led to me going off the deep end and starting to drink so much, and now I, what will I do with this second chance, with this life going forward? You know, to be positive. I feel a lot better being positive. I feel like I can exact change on people without preaching to them or lecturing them on what they should do. Because if I'm not living the life, like example, only one of the things I claim is I am one of the fittest, strongest retired Green Berets that you'll ever run into. I can back that up, and that's not to show off. That's not to like brag on people. That's to say I can do this, and so can you. And like we can all change. You can change. I was drinking an extreme amount. I'd lost almost all of my will to work out and even live. And then that was 17 months ago. And now 16 months ago, something like that, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then back in the gym, you can turn it around. You can choose to be a better person. You can choose to change the setting of your scene. But like, there's only people will say there's two kinds of people in this world, or there's all these different kinds of people. I was like, no, there's not. There's only one kind of person, and that person has a choice. They can choose to be a good person, or they can choose to be a bad person. And their setting sometimes determines that, or they have to be a bad person, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person. So it's not like you're destined to be one way. You just choose to be a better way. So where do I want it to go? If I can just get some people to stop and rethink that decision about what it means to the people around them, and if I can use my words to accurately portray what happens to families and friends when people kill themselves, because nobody does it. We don't talk about it. We talk about it like it's a sickness or a cold that we're going to catch. Nobody talks about how they sat at the funeral and the families and listened to the eulogies and the people crying and the underlying meaning and what the children were saying in their eulogies of, I'm who's going to walk me down the aisle, when actually they mean, how could you do this to me? How could you leave me like this? If I can do that and learn how to do that in a way that's not fake or for content or likes or anything like that, that I actually don't want people to do that. I want them to feel better about themselves, give them an experience that they'll never forget. And that'll help me feel better about um, when my friend called me and said goodbye. And I didn't know he was saying goodbye. And maybe I'll be better prepared for that next call to come. May never come. I hope it doesn't. But maybe I'll be ready next time to recognize what what he was saying to me, and so that there's a lot of meanings for the show and a lot of things that have come out of it, and it changes all the time. But I don't know where it's going to go. It can't be bad. It'll probably be good, and it probably won't look anything like I think it'll look. It'll probably be some different version of the future, and that's okay too. But I don't know. I don't know where it'll go. I don't know what it'll lead to. But I'm gonna do everything I can to be who I know who I should be, who I think I should be for me, and make content that makes for me and help people, because that's what I want to do, and that would that would make me fulfilled. But for now, I'm happy being content and being happy, but being neither happy or sad. I'm just
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where it goes and what I can do with it. What I can do with it when I actually am doing what I want to do, and
Yeah.
for me, and never have to listen to anybody ever again. Um, and that would be kind of where I would want it to go.
Well, there's so
I don't
much
know.
freedom in this, in that you really can do it your own way, and the sky's the limit, right?
It's a big market, as Denny at Security Halt says. There ain't no competition out here, man. This ocean is huge, and we all rise together. And
Yeah.
there's no reason to hate on anybody for doing their best or trying to do their thing or asking you questions. You're not in competition. Unless you're a used car salesman right across the street from another used car salesman, you're not in competition. You're selling yourself. And I don't mean always in monetary ways, but in the content that you put out and the message that you're putting out to people and how it's received. And is it helpful? Is it not? The internet loves agitation and negative, but so you got to fight against that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, well let me ask you this, because you said the Joe Rogan experience, with the going to the comedy club and dinner and then coming on the show. So the the Nick Allen lesser known operator experience, would that be something like, the guest flies in to sit down with you in person the next day, but you're the day before you're going to a Wisconsin Badger game and you're filling up on brats and cheese curds, and then you sit down the next day for a conversation. Would it be something like that?
I don't know, because I don't know where it would go to. One, we have different seasons here, and it's not going to be a one size fit all. But uh, right now, the best that I can do, the lesser known operators experience, is I can be fully invested in my guest while they're on my show, and I can put out the best product for them that their family can listen to or their friends can listen to and learn something about them. I take my interviews very seriously. That is, I'm not out to like put out garbage and just get things. I genuinely want to hear my guest's story, and I want their friends and family to hear their story as well. That's what I can offer. So that's all I can offer right now, is to do the best job with the resources that I have available.
Right.
And if more become available and the show changes into something else, and I can go to them, or they can come to wherever I'm at and have that experience, then that'll be it. But no visions of like that of towards building everything. It's all just what is the best I'm able to provide. I'm going to provide that.
Authenticity.
All right, Nicholas. Well, I guess to wind this down, from being too tattooed for the Marine Corps to being in a soon to not exist artillery MOS to almost dying during selection to getting a go the second go around, bad team leadership, lots of concussions, a lot of ulterior motives on trips to Korea. Would you do it all over again?
Yeah, I'd do it tomorrow, man. I wouldn't change anything. I'd go back in. Can I know what I know now?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I, uh, I go back in. I joke with this one recruiter that I just had on. We just did an interview. I said, "Man, you get me a fresh social security number, I'll go back in tomorrow." Right? Yeah, it's so easy. The military is so easy. Even SF was so easy. You just show up, and they're going to pay you. Everything's written down. Um, Now, all that comes with my lens of what I saw the military as. Other people did not have the same experience I had. And they could have been right next to me, or they could have been far away in other units. That's just my view. Like, yeah, I would do it all again. I'll, yeah, I had a blast, man. I had a lot of fun. I'd do it all again tomorrow. We'll go different branch. We'll go some other one. Uh, as I had a conversation earlier today, I might have been limited to only being able to be a Green Beret, right? I don't know if I could have been any other special operations. I don't think I could pass going to be a PJ or a CCT or SEALs. I definitely couldn't have passed that. I couldn't. I don't think I could pass dive school. I can definitely kill myself while try dive school, and they'll have to bring me back. Shallow water blackouts. I could definitely push myself to that point, but I don't think I could pass dive school in any of those pipelines or anything. So, this might have been the only path that was open to me to get what I wanted to. I don't know if that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I don't because all of them involve water. So, and then I get sent to a dive team. Like, oh man, why?
Well, this has been awesome, Nick. We really appreciate you coming on and sitting down with us for a couple of hours and telling us how you got from A to B. And we love what you're doing. And if it ever does come down to the Wisconsin Badgers and cheese curds level of success, if you do get there, let us know. We'll tag along. I like cheese
All
curds.
right, I'll put you on the list. I'll bring you guys some cheese curds next time I come down to Fayetteville.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, let me ask, maybe this is something you've thought about, maybe it's not. Do you have any plans of trying to conquer your fear of water?
3 times a week, man. I'm in the pool 3 times a week. I swim 1,000 meters every day in the pool. I train the pool on purpose to try and not let the ocean or the water take that away from me. I I've gotten good at swimming, good at restricting my breathing, increasing my cardiovascular capacity. 3 times a week, man, I'm in the water. I, yeah, that's that's about all I can do. I ain't going out in the lake. I ain't going out.
Oh, see,
If
that was my next
if
part. Where
somebody if
are you planning
somebody
to
if
go in the open water?
yeah now if somebody goaded me into doing a oh I don't know what is it what's the short
The
one like a
the
triathlon
polar
or
bear challenge or something like that?
nah that's fine I don't care about that cold I'll jump in the cold water I don't care
You're not
the
going to do an Ironman, are you?
how far is that no that's not up my alley but I mean that's like 2 miles 2.5 miles of swimming the most I've ever done in the pool was like 3,000 meters I think so it's not it's almost uh, 2 miles but still that's in a pool pushing off the wall every 25 meters and it's completely different maybe in a controlled setting with safety, like people watching. I could do a triathlon or something like that, but I train to run a mile as fast as I can, and I train to swim to supplement that mile time. I'm 5'11", 240 pounds. I lift and I do the cardio because if you don't do cardio, you're a child. If you skip, and it's the same. If you skip leg day, you're also a child. Like
Baby weight.
there's no, no, there's no justifying out of it. If you skip leg day, you're a child. If you skip cardio, you're also a child. Like that's fine. Go pretend to play in the gym. Like okay, you're not taking it seriously if you're not all around. If you can't, if you let your cardio hold you back, and you hear guys in jujitsu or stuff. If you can't apply your strength, it's useless. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
same thing in any special operations unit. If you can't run, you better be strong. You better be really strong, to overcome that. But you still got to be able to apply it. And if you're going to be cardiocentric, you better be really fast. You got to be some mix of it. You got to be able to apply both. Um, so it's unfortunate that I got all that together after I'm out. But I don't know. We'll see. I've got some stuff planned and some exciting little projects that we're going to unveil on the world here soon.
That's called a teaser.
Oh man.
Awesome.
Well,
Well, thanks again, Nick.
we appreciate you, brother. Thanks.
Appreciate you guys.
All right, Dan. Another fine episode in the books. What did you think?
Definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting. I cannot. I've been hit in the head a few times.
Same.
I can It seemed like the fates had it out for him. Because I mean, some of the stuff like working construction and having the I can't remember what it was that he said
He said a
fell on
compressor
him.
fell through the
Yeah, the
floor. Yeah.
compressor fell on him. You know, pugil sticks, combatives. I mean, everything. Taking a door to the face. I mean, and that really derailed what was shaping up to be a pretty promising career.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
mean,
guess that's just the roll of the dice sometimes. I guess.
it's as we say, it is what it is. Which a lot of people really hate that expression. When I was young, I really hated it. And now that I'm a little older, possibly a little wiser, it rings a little more true to me. I mean, there are things that are out of your control, and so it's kind of a acceptance
Yeah.
of those circumstances. So
Yeah.
he was a great guest. We appreciate him coming on for sure. I wasn't 100% sure kind of which direction the episode was going to take. He's very, very, very earnest in his. We'll say he's very sincere in the way he wants to support, the military community and veterans and all those
Yeah.
things. And I really truly appreciate that aspect of it as well. Not everything has to be, shoot 'em up war stories. And
Yeah.
just a really, really solid guy. I'm glad we got to meet him this evening.
Yeah. I liked what he said, and this was after we were done recording. And he had talked about how he was just good at pretty much everything that he did. But we were talking about the difference between how some people think that that's kind of like an arrogant way to say something, that he was
Yeah.
just good at everything he did. But there's a difference. He was good at all those things that he did. He wasn't great, you know. And I think that's an important difference. Really diving into to everything that you do is a good way to have a lot of excellent skills, whether it's sports or construction or military skills, whatever it is. That's a good way to learn a lot of skills and be able to do them capably. But that's not greatness in any one
Yeah.
thing. That's an important definition to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But definitely, he's definitely doing good stuff. He talked about how losing a friend uh, to suicide really sent him down a dark path, and how he's trying to do so much now to prevent that, or to at least show that there are other choices, and that is an important
Yeah.
thing
Sure.
for all of us to do. Yeah, yeah. So I like that. Yeah,
Before we can expect this, we being veterans, before we should expect, we'll just say civilians, non-veterans, to come help. We need to help each other first.
yeah. We need to be willing to help ourselves and our brothers and sisters in arms. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I appreciate what he's doing there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did extend an offer for cheese curds and beer for us someday. Someday we will collect on
Someday,
this.
and don't forget the
Not
brats.
not Sunday. Someday. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome.
So any parting shots on Mr. Nicholas?
Nope. Keep up the good work, Nick. Keep it up.
Good stuff, brother.
Yeah.
All right. And we will now transition to our sidearms in the free fire area.
Okay.
What, Mr. Baker, what is your favorite all time board game?
Oh,
This would be board as in BOARD, not
yeah.
BORED. Okay. Board
That's
game.
tough. There are quite a few that I like. Um, I like Risk and Trivial Pursuit. Um, Mousetrap was always fun. You remember Mousetrap?
I remember, of course, I remember. I don't know if I ever actually played the stupid game. I think we mostly just played around with the apparatus, but
Yeah.
the actual gameplay, I don't know if I ever even messed around with it. It was just,
I I like a lot of different board games. Um, I played Axis and Allies
oh yeah,
so much during my second tour in Afghanistan, because we really didn't have anything else to do. I mean, we were out in the mountains, we were in the patrols, whatever. But I mean, we didn't have internet or video games or anything like that. But we did have a board game. So I kind of got tired of that. But I will tell you this: my least favorite board game. Uh, I absolutely cannot stand Monopoly. I hate that
it's a
game with a
classic.
passion. It infuriates me to a degree that I cannot adequately describe. I have not played it in well over a decade, if not longer.
Monopoly is one of those games that everybody's started to play a million times. Few people actually have the fortitude to play an entire game to its conclusion,
Yeah, because I mean, it
whether
can just keep
through
going.
boredom or just rage.
Yeah, yeah,
I've seen people throw stuff at each other. I like literally like come to blows over
yeah.
Monopoly.
I have flipped the board playing Monopoly before. I have been that guy. Um, I, I hate that game so much. Um, so I don't. I wouldn't say that I really have a favorite. I enjoy a good many of them. To include a
Well,
game that you and your dad introduced me to when we were
that's gonna
but.
be mine. So don't steal it from me.
Oh,
That's gonna
okay.
be mine.
All right. Well, then
So,
I'll turn it over to you.
what was the one that we played when we were teenagers? It was like Knights and Orcs kind of type game. There was the one giant troll.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember the name of the game. I know
Yeah,
exactly which
it
one
was,
you're
it was
talking
not
about.
Tolkien stuff. I mean, it was different, but
I
I
cannot
think you're
remember. I cannot remember what it was called, but I did see a copy of it, um, like at a GameStop or something, 4 or 5 years ago, and it was over $200 to buy this thing.
yeah. Well, then, to be
Could
fair,
not.
that was another millennium ago.
That's true. What's
That
old
was
is
in a
new.
different century.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, my favorite board game, as you have alluded to already, is a old Avalon Hill game, mid 20th century. It's called Kingmaker, as you know, and it is a game that it takes place during the English Civil War, the War of the Roses. And so the objective of the game is to, I mean, you have the two factions, right? The white roses and the white and the red roses. And the objective of the game is to be the team that has the last surviving color of roses. So I mean, you can have reds or you can have whites, but you can't have both. And so it is a war game that it consists of alliances, breaking alliances. There's all kinds of wild cards that get pulled where you get jerked all over
Vacillating
the place,
nobles.
vacillating, and there's all kinds of revolts and stuff that your nobles are required to go deal with, and so it can really throw a fly in the ointment, to mix metaphors. So Kingmaker is one of my favorite old games, and then I'm not particularly good at it, but a distant second. You still can't go wrong with chess. I mean, it's a true warriors game. I'm not very good at it. I'm sad to say, but it's certainly
Yeah,
classic.
yeah. It is indeed. It's one of the oldest games in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, well, we appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening. Please give us a follow on social media. We're on all of them except the Chinese spyware known as TikTok. Please like, share, subscribe the show. We're on all of the audio platforms and then here in the visual as well, YouTube and Rumble.
Yep.
Please share, tell a friend, subscribe, and remember, take us out, Dan.
Your service matters.